This morning, we're going to be taking a look at the commitment of the group managing director, of the NNPCL, Mr. Mele Kyari, who's given his word that the country is on course for the December deadline for the Port Harcourt Refinery to work. Before now, there had been big controversy as to whether or not that refinery was going to come on stream by December as promised. Don't forget that the deadline has been shifted quite a number of times. And finally, it does appear that, there is work going on and will be done by December this year, 2023. I mean, this is not the first time we've heard the GMD give his word, or even a minister give word that the Port Harcourt Refinery was going to be completed. And this was even during the Buhari administration when there had been talk around how soon could the Port Harcourt Refinery come on stream. But not just the Port Harcourt Refinery, I think there was also talk around the Dangote Refinery as well. But right now, yesterday, the group managing director, of the NNPCL paid, was it someone? Did he pay a visit to the House of Representatives? Well, he saw the speaker yesterday, and he gave his word that indeed, by December this year, they were going to be able to deliver that refinery, and the Warri refinery will also come on stream in the first quarter of 2024. There had been pressure before now as to how quickly these refineries could work, given the removal of fuel subsidy that happened with the pronouncement of the president on the first day of office, when he said fuel subsidy is gone. For a number of people, they said, how can you take away subsidy without ensuring that some of the parameters, some of the things we needed to make sure that production was happening in-house were in place? There are big questions in that regard. And looking at, just how the price of petrol has just been going up, everyone has said the only way this will not be a problem for Nigeria is to ensure that we're able to produce locally, since we're a crude oil producing country. There was no reason why we should continue to rely on imports to fuel our energy needs here in the country. So December is the deadline. Ayo, do you think we can take him at his word?
Mark, well, good morning. First, to remind us that today is November 24, and it's a Friday morning. You remember, I think it was in 2020, we had this interview with the GMD of the NNPC, now NNPCL, and that was the time that one of the first times we heard that subsidy was had been taken away completely. That was in 2020. But then, before we knew what was happening, we began to hear that, and I think, of course, it was because the price of crude in the market, in the global oil market, dropped completely at the time. But before we knew what was happening, of course, it would seem like there was some kind of review eventually, and then, whatever happened, and fuel subsidy tended to have remained, because you'd also remember that it was about after his own pronouncement live on our television station, on this platform, on this particular program, that the Minister of State for Petroleum at the time, Timothy Silva, also said, well, subsidy was gone, but then, some other considerations were being made because of the people. So can we take him at his word? Well, it is his word, and what we can only hope, that this time it is true. I'm looking at a report released last year where the GMD made a commitment assuring Nigerians that the Port Harcourt refinery we're talking about will be completed by March this year. And that was, how many months ago now? So that is there. But, for me, the value chain of refining our product in the country, I think that is generally lost on us. And many times when we talk about petroleum refineries in this country, we only look at just petrol. We look at diesel, we look at Jet A1 and those other basics. But there are so many other things that can be made from that. The devices that we use, for instance, and I think we've talked about this quite a number of times, petrochemicals, oils for vehicles and all those things. The entire value chain is amazing. The jobs that will be created from those are amazing. Parts for electronics in cars are gotten sometimes, most times actually from, petrochemicals, byproducts of the crude oil. Furniture in the vehicles, they are right there. So the value chain, the capacity for us to produce in country refine our own oil will greatly facilitate a lot of other things for us in this country. These facts are not unknown to us at the federal level. Now, when this Port Harcourt, and I'm saying when, Mark, because I'm also as hopeful, when these refineries indeed begin to work in the country, the question that I'm also hoping will be answered as the refinery kicks back on, and as you said, the Warri Refinery also, begins to take shape, is how do we ensure that we don't go back to where we are coming from? Sustainability is the key, Markwe. Unless we factor in sustainability of whatever initiatives we start, I don't see us going very far. I remember it was in the Obasanjo days between 1999 and 2007, I think, that the president at the time went all over the world looking for foreign direct investment in the country. Oh yeah, he did his own bit, got some eggheads into his government at the time. Today, how much better have we done since that time? And now the president is doing exactly the same thing, going out all over the world, asking for foreign direct investment into the country. And indeed, some people have started coming. The question that I'm asking, Marco, again is, how do we ensure sustainability of the initiatives at the federal level? And how do we percolate those things down to the states so that there is joint ownership? You remember we had an interview with the minister of the FCT now, who was governor of Rivers State at the time. And part of the conversations we were having was, what is collaboration with the federal government like in some cases, particularly in the Niger Delta, the NDDC issues? Well, he said, of course, that the conversation wasn't so smooth. These refineries are sited in states. What's the assurance we have that these things will have the collaboration of the federal government and the states to protect this infrastructure and monitor them so that we don't go back to where we are coming from? That's the question. And that's not just the federal government refineries now. Those other smaller ones that people are talking about, modular refineries and the rest of those. How do we ensure that we are sufficient at home with even capacity to export? Limitless questions, if you ask me, Okwe. Limitless questions.
Indeed, but I think we can this time around listen to the to the GMD himself as he spoke to the Speaker of the House of Representatives yesterday. And he did say this time around that you can hold us accountable. That's what he said. Hold us account. I don't know whether that was addressed to the generality of Nigerians or that was just to the Speaker. I mean, that's to the House of Representatives holding them accountable. So certainly we should be holding the feet of the National Assembly to the fire if they fail to hold the NNPC GMD to account, if the goalpost shifts once again. But he did say December is the time, the end of December is the time when they're hoping that this refinery will come on stream. Don't forget that Labour had doubted very strongly, or they had said, well, we're the people on ground. From what we're seeing, it doesn't look like this refinery is going to come on stream, but part of what they had agreed was a joint inspection of the refinery as part of the deals shortly after the petrol subsidy was taken out. So maybe this time around there's something to this. Will be confirming from Labour if they too have heard or if they too can confirm that indeed the refinery is on stream to be delivered at the end of December. But certainly this is the NNPC GMD Mele Kyari speaking, and you may listen to him. That happened at the House of Reps yesterday between the GMD of the NNPCL and the Speaker of the House of Representatives.